Travel 500 kilometers north of Beijing, China's capital, and you'll enter a realm of vibrant colors. Here, the forces of ice and fire have sculpted unique geological wonders. Countless creatures have forged homes bound by life and death. This vast land of mountains, grasslands, lakes, and sandy land challenges life with extremes. Drought and moisture, abundance and scarcity, harshness and gentleness. Adaptation is the key to survival. This is Hexington, where life endures in an ever-changing world. By mid-May, the migration of the Amuride has ended. The once bustling north estuary of the Dalinor Lake has returned to tranquility. To the southeast of Dalinor Lake lies a vast wetland with marsh, where large Grallatores usually choose to breed. The white-naped crane Dahong and its wife arrived early this year. Fortunately, Dahong managed to find a good place soon. To ensure sufficient food during the breeding period, Dahong needs to occupy a territory of at least 2 square kilometers. It celebrated too early. In this over 20 square kilometer wetland, dozens of white-naped crane pairs come to breed each year. Another pair seems to have their eyes on this place, too. During migration, they are close companions. But upon arrival, they become fierce rivals. Territorial disputes are about food and, more importantly, mating opportunities. Dahong and its wife fight together, driving the newcomers out of the range. This spring, local animals and migratory birds from the south both need to build breeding homes in Hexington. This process is full of hardships and risks, but also accompanied by great joy. The family craze lowers its body and accepts Dahong's love. the sun, the Archiehatie granite forest reveals its stunning form. Spring arrives late in the mountains. The shing and azaleas are the first to bloom, braving the cold. They must bloom before the forest grows lush to get enough sunlight. In the fierce world of Hexington, survival isn't just about beauty and romance, but also duels and deadly battles fought for love. A black creature shows up in the clearing. This is a male black grouse searching for a rival. During the mating season, the skin pouch on its head turns bright red due to congestion. The surge of testosterone makes this grouse extremely excited. Only a bloody fight can release its tension. In early spring, the calls of black grouse echo throughout the Daxinghenling Mountains. Following the sound, it finally finds a bloody battlefield. As soon as it appears, it encounters a head-on attack. Each cock fights for its life. Do not underestimate their claws and beaks. These melee weapons are sharp enough to kill the rival. This latecomer looks strong but lacks wit. Soon enough, one of its rectrices is broken. Let's name this unlucky guy Dwanchi. Dwanchi is driven to the edge of the battlefield. It finally understands the cruelty of the fight. According to the breeding rules of the black grouse, only the winner can mate with hens. Dwanchi is severely injured in its first battle, so it is uncertain if it can win the favor of the hens and have its children. Outside the battlefield of the black grouse lies the vast grassland. A few days ago, we discovered the rare bird, the great bustard, in this area. The brief encounter left us with unlimited expectations. After searching the grassland for several days, we finally meet the great bustard again. In order not to disturb them, the photographers set up their equipment a kilometer away. Through the telephoto lens, we try to uncover the survival secrets of the great bustard. The great bustard is an expert at catching insects, but now they can only feed on dry grass and seeds. The great bustard has a good digestive system. With its omnivory, this ancient species has survived to this day. But the legend of the great bustard may come to an end soon, as there are only a few thousand left in the world. Outside a group of male bustards, Laubai stands alone, looking a bit different. It is the largest one among the group of males. In this new breeding season, it will become the target of challenges from other males. The males start chasing each other, signaling the prelude of the courtship battles. Laubai seems very confident about the upcoming fights. Can it maintain its status as the king? Some birds adopt peaceful ways to reproduce. On the sandbank not far from the shore of Dalinor Lake, hundreds of pairs of herring gulls have nested here, making the small sandbank a bustling herring gull island. To capture the scenes of herring gull hatching, the film crew paddles a kayak to the mid-lake island and sets up a micro lens there. On the sandbank, nests are only a few meters apart. The male bird brings dry aquatic plants to build a soft and comfortable nest, and the female bird starts to hatch the eggs. Compared to the spacious territories of white-naped cranes, the homes of herring gulls seem overcrowded. A homeless herring gull finds a small island in the pond. No one would have thought that a herring gull could build a nest in such a tiny place. Small as it is a home, and a cozy nest for welcoming chicks. Although it cannot enjoy group life, it owns vast water instead. At dawn, the black grouse starts fighting again. The spring has come, but it is still a bit cold. On this stage full of changes and competition, bird fights gradually reach a climax. After daybreak, several hens show up to watch the fight, making the atmosphere even tenser. Duanchi, who was driven out of the battlefield, recovers from its failure. The appearance of hens makes it more excited. Duanchi lowers its body, walks quickly in small steps, and circles around the hen. The hen's evasion seems to make it understand that winning a female's heart relies not on the red wattle and white tail, but on victory in fights with other males. On the grassland outside the black grouse's battlefield, the male great bustards also start fighting. After a round of battle, only 3 players are on the stage. Laobai will have the final showdown with 2 young challengers. They seem to be in a singing contest, where height determines the winner. Maintaining a show-off posture for a long time consumes a lot of energy. One of the great bustards runs out of energy and begins to retreat. Only 2 males are left. Laobai remains higher than its rival. To defend its position as the king, Laobai has to persist until the last moment. On the black grouse's battlefield, Duanchi joins the fight again. The almost rogue move is no longer an attack, but a vent of anger. The experienced cocks wisely give way. They know that the protracted war has just begun. The hen's attitude changes from resistance to reserve. Duanchi finally wins the heart of the hen. The final showdown among great bustards finally begins. Lao Bai and its rival turn the fight into a perfect duet. With all means exhausted, only force can resolve it. The result is clear, and the loser is only bluffing. Lao Bai successfully defends its dignity. It fans out its wings and wraps its entire body with white tail feathers. This is the first flower to bloom on this still withered grassland. It tells people in a show-off posture that the great bustard, a species on the brink of extinction, still survives tenaciously. Whether the losers are convinced or not, they can only bow down to the winner. After the male great bustard competition ends, the separated male and female flocks begin to get together. The female great bustard's plumage is very similar to the male's, but their size is only half that of the male's. Perhaps for this reason, one male great bustard can have up to 7 or 8 wives. Of course, the prerequisite is winning the male competition. This flock of great bustards may have 27 or 28 birds, possibly the largest group of great bustards seen in northern China. In the wetland, the white-naped crane dahong occupies a vast territory, which is somewhat enviable. Intruders visit here from now and then, making dahong and its wife restless. Fortunately, they can defend their home with their large bodies and strong wings. Dahong chooses a place to sit down. The picky female crane taps the ground with its long beak, testing whether the earth is dry and firm. If the earth is too wet, it is bad for the egg incubation. It seems that the female disagrees with the sighting, so dahong needs to start over. After a brief gathering, the great bustard population splits into separate families. Lao Bai successfully occupies 7 females. It keeps fanning out its feathers, not only to maintain its attractiveness to its wives, but also to warn other males, especially those who are still single, not to act rashly. Unlike other birds, Lao Bai, with 7 wives, must maintain family order and find suitable nesting sites for each wife. This is not an easy task. Dahong's sighting work has made a breakthrough. The new site has been recognized by the female crane. Dahong dances excitedly. The white-naped crane is a natural dancer. This is a performance dedicated to its lover and the most beautiful gift the white-naped crane offers to the grassland. In early spring, the land of Hexington is still frozen. Before the grass turns green, the most important task for the herders is to welcome the newborns. From February onwards, lambs are born one after another. Occasionally, ewes refuse to nurse their lambs. The attentive hostess cares for these little ones as if they were her own children. By late April, the last batch of calves is born in the herder's home. In the warm shed, under the caress of the mother, it finally manages to stand up. The herd of horses wanders on the edge of the mountains. The new members expand the herd. The foals cannot receive the same care as the lambs and calves. Even more unfortunately, if the newborn foal has congenital defects, even the mother's care will not help. In the past winter, the mother did not get enough nutrition, so the foal was born weak. It must stand up as soon as possible, because only in this way can it get its mother's milk and leave here with the herd. Without the care and help of their owner, the mother can do nothing but wait quietly. The foal tries again and again. The herd lingers nearby, hoping to see the foal stand up. 2 days later, the foal finally fails to stand up. At the beginning of spring, it returns itself to the grassland. While enjoying life in the wild, the herd also has to pay the price. The cruel scene repeats the basic law of nature. The weak will be eliminated, and only the strong will survive. As the sun becomes closer to the earth, the spring awakens everything. Hexington has ushered in the most important moment of the year. The tender shoots of the grass break through the soil with irresistible force and appear on the ground. The once yellow grassland becomes green inadvertently. After more than 6 months of suffering and waiting, the livestock finally take the first bite of green grass. They lost nearly half of their weight throughout the winter, and the green grass will help them become strong again. The summer pastures of herders are generally built along the rivers or other places with sufficient water sources. The short and comfortable summer life is about to begin. Nowadays, herders no longer ride horses to herd. Instead, they ride on motorcycles. These sheep are also hybrids of foreign breeds and local sheep. Everything is changing quietly. However, the livelihood of developing animal husbandry on the grassland remains unchanged. The Botter family has stayed at the winter pasture for half a year. Now, it is time to move to the summer pasture. The family owns 3 yurts, so they cannot move all of them in one day. According to the family's rules, the eldest and the second son will move first. In Bader's summer pasture, Enha, the second son, begins to set up the yurt. The frame of the yurt is made from dry Chinese fir, with adjustable height and easy installation. The top of the yurt is a wooden skylight with many reserved sockets inside. Insert the side poles one by one and then tie them to the frame with ropes. The hostess, Dama, has long suffered from back and leg pains, but she stays busy whenever there's work. Her second daughter-in-law, who joined the family last year, has already become her right hand. Dama has brought up 4 sons. The eldest son, who married the first, has a son. Dama told the second daughter-in-law several times that she desperately wanted a granddaughter. But this matter is as unpredictable as the weather on the grassland in summer. The growth of elm leaves exceeds the eating of camels. The sandy land turns green. The camels that have been wandering for more than half a year can finally leave here. Now is the season for the wool to shed, so they do not look decent. But the new grass of this year will give them a new coat. The herders living in the sandy land have packed up their belongings and set off happily. Leaving the winter pasture, they are greeted by the grassland with blooming flowers. On this arid temperate grassland, the thin soil layer is not suitable for growing crops, but is suitable for resilient grass. The herders drive their cattle and sheep, migrating on the grassland like migratory birds. This is the survival wisdom and strategy of the nomadic people. To provide the best living environment for the livestock, they have chosen the simplest way of living. The yurt is set up. Dama starts to build a hearth using mud. This is her specialty. Not far from the yurt is a rippling pond. These seasonal ponds are precious water sources on the grasslands. The livestock that have walked all the way can finally drink happily. The next 3 months will be a carefree time. The migration of herders marks the arrival of summer in the Hexington grassland. From the alpine meadows on the Daxingeling Mountains to the vast grasslands at the foot, flowers are blooming everywhere. Hexington is located at the junction of northeast China, North China, and the Inner Mongolian Plateau. Thanks to this, the geographical landscapes and species of different regions converge here, presenting a colorful world that is rarely seen in northern China. The diverse geographical conditions mean more creatures can build their homes on this land. Every spring, the herder cuts off a small piece from the ear of the newborn lambs and strings it together. Today is the last day for the Bader family to move to the summer pasture. Enha Jirigala, the fourth son, will use it to complete a special ceremony. The lamb ears are mixed with dairy products and scattered at the door for the ants to share. This is to repay the gift of Mother Earth, and to wish that the livestock will be as prosperous as ants. Their belongings are quickly packed up, and Hajirigala is a wrestler, so he brings the jacket that has accompanied him in his battles. This is not a rich family, so they just pack up all the items and leave. The bedding and clothes are put in the van. The house, which is the yurt, is loaded onto the tricycle. The progress of the times has not only changed the means of transportation, but also posed severe challenges to the nomadic tradition. In the past, herders would migrate within several hundred kilometers. Nowadays, due to the increasing population and livestock, the pastures are contracted to each household. The Botter family can only migrate between their winter and summer pastures, which are only 30 kilometers apart. How long can such reduced migration be maintained on the grassland? The herders have no answer to it. After the arduous nest building, Hexington has become a massive bird hatchery. The marshlands on the southern shore of Dalinor Lake are now inaccessible. We can only get close to the nests by paddling a kayak. To film the birth of new life, we carefully set up various filming equipment to capture these precious scenes. The nests of the herring gulls on the sandbanks seem to be overly dense, but there are advantages to crowding together. When predators come, they can work together to defend themselves. The pied avocet settles in the pond next to Botter's house. They lay their eggs in the grass on the mid-lake island. This place is like a paradise where adult birds can wait for the birth of their children without worry. Some birds rely on the water to protect their eggs, while eggs laid in the grass face greater risks. The wife of the white-naped crane dahong has laid 2 eggs this year. Large eggs often attract predators' attention. When going out to forage, dahong never strays far from the nest, so it can return quickly if there is any danger. Some birds, however, are so careless that they don't even build a simple nest. Instead, they just lay their eggs on the bare ground, surrounded by sparse grass. The parents of the eggs are the demoiselle crane. They do not have strong bodies, but they have ways of protecting their children. Looking closely, the patterns on eggs are like camouflage, which makes them hard to spot. This is also a survival strategy. Otherwise, the demoiselle crane would not have survived to this day. Starting in early May, the Mongolian spruce forest at the foot of Bayan Albao enters a new growth period. New branches sprout rapidly, with new cones on top, competing for the best sunlight. The dense canopy blocks the sunlight, creating a dark world in the spruce forest. The female black grouse has laid a dozen eggs. The competition among the male black grouse seems to never end. The task of laying eggs and hatching them is solely borne by the female black grouse. The mission of the hens is to raise the most offspring for the best cock. Despite the cover of the spruce forest, the hen still remains extremely cautious. Every time it enters and exits the nest, she does so with great care. The cocks seem to have nothing to do with the arduous hatching of hens. The male black grouse on the clearing still has a lot of fight in them. From yellow grass to green grass, the fierce battle has lasted more than a month. Dwanchi mates with a hen during the intervals between fights and returns to the battlefield soon. The hens are no longer seen on the battlefield. The cocks start a fight without any reason. A fight is just a fight. It has nothing to do with romance, but has to do with their nature. The feathers are scattered everywhere. Flocks of Nauman's thrushes arrive to clean the battlefield. To them, grouse feathers are a delectable treat. Laubai looks around uneasily. The ubiquitous fences divide the grassland into private pastures for each household, which causes trouble for Laubai in finding a breeding ground. Behind it is the fence of the herder, with their houses in the distance. It is indeed not easy to find a suitable nest. In such a densely populated place, what is worse? The main reason for the extinction of the great bustard population is the theft of eggs. Those who act out of curiosity and appetite might not realize that their actions could determine the fate of a species. In this diverse land of Hexington, changes are constantly occurring between animals and animals, and between animals and humans. Therefore, where is home? Has become a great question. Life in summer is peaceful and serene. The arrival of Secretary C from the Sumu disrupted the peace in the yurt. The winter pasture contracted by the Botter family is located right at the foot of the Daxing-Anling Mountains. A few years ago, people discovered high-grade iron ore there. Now, the iron mine needs to rent more land in order to expand its scale. Secretary C mentioned that the iron mine has offered a rental fee of 6 million yuan. It is up to the Botter family to accept it. For the kids, living in the city is more convenient. At least the kids don't have to walk so far to school. But Botter, who has lived on the grassland all his life, does not want to move. Without the winter pasture, there would be no place to go for the migration. The cattle and sheep can be kept in pens. But what about their horses? In a place far from the herder's fences, Laubai finds an open grassland where the tall grass can just conceal its body. The eggs lying in the grass are also greenish-blue, almost undetectable. Through the telephoto lens, we find that the female great bustards occupy an area each, with Laubai looking around to guard its wives hidden in the grass. While waiting for the birth of chicks, stories of survival and death play out every day in Hexington. The nest of the demoiselle crane is on the sandy land outside the spruce forest. The sun is warm enough during the day, so the crane doesn't have to sit on the eggs all the time. However, it is necessary to turn the eggs regularly to ensure smooth incubation. The demoiselle cranes minimize their foraging time and do not dare to go too far each time. Magpies are secretly observing the place. When the time is right, they make their move. Their actions do not escape the eyes of the steppe eagle. Its target is not the eggs, but the magpies. The demoiselle cranes notice the steppe eagle. They rush back. The magpies flee in panic, and the steppe eagle keeps searching for other prey. The eggs are safe. In several days, the baby cranes will hatch. The first chick pecks a small opening in the shell. The second chick's cry penetrates the shell. One more sunny day, they will break out of the shells. In dry and hot days, the hatching of demoiselle cranes is frequently disturbed. The chicks are underdeveloped, so they cannot break the shells from the inside. After losing too much water and energy, the first chick dies in the shell. The mother demoiselle crane doesn't give up. The second chick is still alive, so there is still hope. Almost at the same time, the chicks of the white-naped crane are about to hatch. When cooling the eggs, the white-naped crane Dahong and its wife take the time to search for food nearby. At this moment, the chick hatches. It looks confused, facing the unfamiliar world. The steppe eagle has sharp eyes. Even the slightest movement on the ground cannot be hidden from it. The chick is learning to walk. It seems that it will not escape this time. The shadow passing over makes Dahong feel uneasy. Without hesitation, it takes off quickly. Almost at the same time, the female crane flies back, too. They flap their huge wings to drive away the intruder. The danger has passed. The female crane bends down. It will never leave its baby again. The newborn chick has to rely entirely on their parents for feeding until they can follow their parents to forage for food in the wetland. In the breeding season full of risks, the white-naped crane couple successfully has a child. Hexington thus has become the westernmost breeding ground for the white-naped crane in China. If the chicks can grow up healthily here and complete the migration with their parents, we will be able to see the beautiful birds here next spring. The hidden cave on the silent extinct volcano is the delivery room of the ruddy shell duck. Getting down the volcano is a test of their wisdom. On the crisis-ridden way to survive, a great lake once existed in northern China. This is the creation of both volcanoes and glaciers. This is a world-class natural heritage.